Hi, I'm Stephen Jordan,
And I'm Sean Watson.
and for our NLP coursework, we've been comparing UK and US linguistic influences on Russia, Moldova, and Romania.
So, today's agenda is going to cover the introduction, the method, the results, and then the conclusion. So, why should you analyse English variants in text?
Well, English, as it turns out, is the most spoken language around the world, spoken natively by over 360 million people, and it's the second language to over a billion people as well. It's the dominant language in numerous fields, including communications, science, IT, business, and entertainment.
Also, English is seen to be the world's first lingua franca. As it's spoken so widely across the world, it makes communication between people not sharing a mother tongue pretty simple. So, why Eastern Europe? Particularly because of Russia. Russia's got an extremely large economy, and it's been influencing Eastern Europe for the past 50 years now, and still doing so. It's currently got very heavy ties with the EU, and it's currently influencing the world through marketing and industry.
We've also decided to look at Romania, as it's one of the members of the European Union that we believe has had some influence from Russia. We've also decided to look at Moldova, who, unlike Romania, are not members of the European Union and used to be a previous state of the Soviet Union. We believe this will make them more heavily influenced by Russia, thus making our research more interesting. This map demonstrates the area of Eastern Europe we're looking at, particularly highlighting the three countries we're looking at.
Due to the great influence of the USA in recent history and through mass media, we believe Russia will use a US variant of English.
We think Moldova are also going to follow in Russia's footsteps, using a US variant of English due to the fact that they were once a Soviet Union state and they're not in the EU. Romania, on the other hand, being part of the EU, are more likely to tend to a UK variant of English. This map shows the Soviet Union in 1991, with the green countries being under the influence of the Soviet Union.
Moving on to the method, firstly we had to choose words to evaluate. After researching common differences between UK and US English, we decided upon variations on three suffixes, leading to the choice of these three words: realise, honour, and centre. We chose these words because they're simple, common, regularly occurring, and easy to evaluate. For the comparison, we will be using the ratio of US to UK occurrences of each word throughout each corpus.
We needed to create a training set for our words of choice using the following UK-US corpora. This included such classics as the British National Corpus and the Brown Corpus. This is an example of the training set that was used with Weka to ensure that it could correctly classify the US and UK English variants.
We used three classifiers: JRIP, naive Bayes, and the J48 decision tree. As you can see, JRIP correctly classified 14 out of 15 of the corpus. Naive Bayes and J48 decision tree correctly classified 13 out of the 15. These are all run with cross-validation of tenfolds. We chose three classifiers as this allows us to make a final conclusion on country's English variant, as we'll always have at least 2 out of 3 classifiers indicating a UK or US preference.
We also needed to collect data for the frequency of our chosen words within each country that we are researching. We could then use this data in conjunction with our previous training set in order to discover how Weka classifies each of our countries' variants of English.
Moving on to the results. Firstly, we look at Russia. As you can see from the three figures, each one representing one of the classifiers we used. Green depicts the result returned to us. Linking back to the original hypothesis, Russia was predicted to have a US variant of English. This is conclusively backed up by all three classifiers correctly indicating a US variant of English. Now moving on to Moldova and Romania. Moldova is predicted to follow in Russia's footsteps with a US variant of English. This is correctly backed up as all three classifiers indicate a US variant of English. From our original hypothesis, Romania was originally predicted a UK variant of English. As you can see from the figures below, both JRIP and J48 decision tree classified Romania to have a US variant of English, with only naive Bayes supporting our original theory.
As 2 out of the 3 classifiers indicated that Romania preferred a US variant of English, we decided to look into the data further using log likelihood. In these results, a positive value indicates a more US version of English than UK, and vice versa, a negative value indicates a more UK version of English than that to US. Although our original hypothesis has been proven to be incorrect, we still believe that Romania will show far less of a tendency, and thus a lower log likelihood score, towards US English than both Moldova and Russia. This revised hypothesis was confirmed by the results, as can be seen, Romania show a much lower log likelihood score than Moldova and Russia, with Moldova being very heavily inclined towards US English.
Now to conclude, based on the results shown previously, we can conclude that the dominant variant of English in Eastern Europe is US, proving our original hypothesis incorrect, as we predicted that Romania would tend towards the UK variant of English. However, the log likelihood results demonstrate that our original hypothesis had some element of accuracy, as both Moldova and Russia, when compared to Romania, heavily tended towards the US variant of English, whereas Romania only slightly tended towards US variants.
When looking back at our research process, there may have been a few limitations of the research. This could come from any number of reasons. Firstly, the fact that we only chose 3 types of word: realise, honour, and centre. Had we chosen more word variants, we would have been able to enhance the representation for each country and thus be able to improve accuracy.
Another limitation of this when training our data was the word realise, as it did not have a definitive national origin. For example, with the British corpus, there'd be more occurrences of the US spelling and vice versa, therefore slightly swaying the accuracy of the training set.
Although our original hypothesis has been proved to be incorrect, this only helps to demonstrate the usefulness of this research, as it proves that initial assumptions about a country's preference for a variant of English cannot always be relied upon until further research is undertaken.
Obviously, there have been greater influences on the variants in English across Eastern Europe than our original hypothesis assumes. Further research could be undertaken by including a more extensive range of Eastern Europe countries, as well as increasing the number of words used.
This now concludes our report.
He's been Stephen Jardine.
And he's been Sean Watson.
Thank you for listening.